Today we're going to make baked ziti. I have a pound of ground beef, some soy chorizo from Trader Joe's. This stuff is the bomb. Seriously. Big pot here. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of oil, just wing it really. Once it's heated, I'm going to add 1 large onion diced, and then about 1.5 tablespoons of minced garlic. Basically want to cook it until the onions are a bit translucent, and once that happens, then we're going to add the ground beef. We're just going to squeeze the soy chorizo out of the casing and into the pot. Just want to break up the soy chorizo and then mix all of it together and cook the beef and sausage and onions together. That's cooking in a separate pot. I'm going to make the pasta, so we just have some water. I'm going to put some salt. Now once the meat is browned, I'm going to open up these 3 cans. It's going to be a 28-ounce can of whole peeled tomatoes and then 2 cans of tomato sauce that are 15 ounces. I just want to take a moment and talk about this can opener, and I know it doesn't look like the traditional can opener, but it is the best can opener I've ever used. It's super easy to store, and look, when you open the can, look, you can run your finger through the side and it won't cut you. It's really safe and easy to use. It has a tight seal, so if you do need to close it back up, like, it fits perfectly. Now I'm just going to take this and pour it straight into the pot and just smush up the tomatoes a bit. And then add the 2 cans of tomato sauce. Now just mix all of that together and let it cook and reduce down. In the meantime, the water is boiling, so I'm just going to add a 16-ounce box of ziti and cook for about 9 to 10 minutes. You want them to be al dente because this is going into the oven. Now to this, you want to add 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, about 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then about 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. So that's all going to go, and that'll be our seasoning for the sauce. This sauce, you want to cook it for about 25 to 30 minutes. So I'm just going to cover it and let it do its thing. In another big bowl, we're going to add 1 egg. And we're just going to whisk that together. And then to the egg mixture, we're going to add a 15-ounce tub of whole milk ricotta cheese. So just whisk the egg and ricotta together, and now I'm going to add 2 cups of grated mozzarella cheese, 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, and then once it's mixed, just 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and a little bit more than 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I just drained the pasta and I'm going to add it to the cheese mixture. Just mix it all together, and then once the meat sauce is done, we're just going to combine everything and bake it at 375 degrees. So now that the sauce is done, we're going to combine it with the cheese and pasta mixture and then pour it in a baking dish and then bake it in the oven at 375. Into 2 containers. I'm going to try and freeze this and see how it comes out. It's a pretty big dish, so this probably feeds, like, I don't know, a huge family, or even like if you have like guests over or like a party, this would be a good dish. But definitely cut down the recipe in half or 1/4 if it's just for you and somebody else. And I also have a lot of sauce left over, but I personally like to make the dish a little bit on the dry side and then add sauce for whoever's preference is to have the pasta more saucy, because I know some people like it a little bit more dry, some people like it more saucy, so this way you have control, or you give control to each individual. Now I'm just going to spoon a little bit of the sauce over the top and then add some shredded cheese. And you want to just spread some cheese on the top. I'm using mozzarella cheese. Now I'm going to place it on a baking tray just so it's easier to take out of the oven. And we're going to place it in the oven at 375 for about 20 minutes. So I just took it out of the oven. You want to wait at least 5 or 10 minutes before cutting into it, because right now it's still very saucy. So you want it to set a bit.